going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video for Code Vein. Now in today's video I'm going to be talking to you guys about an option that is pretty viable and one of the fastest ways for you to gain haze. Now in this game, obviously there are different methods to gaining haze and farming haze, but this is probably one of the simplest. Now this is not a trick or a glitch, but for me personally and what I have found, this is one of the best ways to just farm haze after you have beaten the game. Now as far as builds go, it is pretty important, so I will go over mine, because as you get into this and you start to do the run, because you will notice depending on the build that you have results in how fast that you actually run through the level or the map or the board. Now I am running Atlas because it is more favored towards two-handed swords, so that's what we'll be equipping. In addition to that, obviously it's just absolutely amazing when it comes to attack power, or at least raw attack power. Now as far as passive gifts go, I do have strength up, strength vitality up, revenant's hunger, and two-handed sword mastery. So if you don't have these passive gifts yet, you can unlock them through the blood codes and then go ahead and equip them. Now for Blood Veil, I do have the Violet Gear fortification, and you can actually get this from the Hellfire Knight boss. Now if you guys haven't seen yet, I did post a video earlier in this week about how you can actually one-shot that boss, and that should allow you to at least get this Violet Gear and then add fortification plus 10 to it. Now with that being said, obviously for weapons we have the Argent Wolf King's blade with a fortification of plus 10. Now again, as far as the transformations go, these aren't as important, but you definitely want to make sure that you have the Argent Wolf King's blade. This is probably my favorite two-handed sword in the game. And then obviously making sure that you have the Violet Gear fortification. You could swap this out for something that is, you know, pretty similar, maybe like the Festive Fang if you haven't beat the Hellfire Knight yet. But if you have, go ahead and equip the Violet Gear. Now for the Blood Veil and weapon, I do have them upgraded to plus 10, so you'll want to make sure that you have that, and you should honestly have that for any post endgame build that you have. Now for gifts, what I have is the Triple Annihilator and the Tormenting Blast. So the Tormenting Blast is going to be the main one that you want to unlock. I believe you can unlock this via the Atlas blood code anyways, so this is going to be the main move that you're going to be rocking as you're running through this level, this board, and gaining this haze. So definitely unlock that and make sure that it's equipped. Now as you'll see here, I do have some other ones like Firestorm and Precision. These aren't as important. You actually won't be using these at all, and you'll rarely ever use the Triple Annihilator. So just make sure that you have the Tormenting Blast at least unlocked and equipped. Now because we're using the Atlas blood code, the amount of Ichor that we're able to use is going to be 10. So you're going to be very limited to the amount of power or attack moves that you can do, as well as what kind of buffs that you can apply and how often you can apply them. Now this won't become an issue as you guys are thinking, because based on this build, the raw attack power alone, you're going to be able to one-shot most enemies, and if not, you're at least going to be able to do the Tormenting Blast on the harder ones, or if you don't even have enough Ichor to do Tormenting Blast, just the raw damage alone, you'll be able to destroy them in no time. Now for the buffs, I am doing Adrenaline to increase the attack power, and in addition to that, Lightning Weapon. Now you could do a Fire and Ice or whatever you want for that. Now for me personally, I just rather do the Lightning. That's just my personal favorite, and not to mention it looks absolutely amazing on any weapon that you put it on. So with this build, if you look at your character stats, now obviously it will depend on what level you are, but I am only level 225 out of 300, and if you look at my weapon attack power, or at least raw attack power for the two-handed sword that I have, it's going to be around 2400. Mobility slow, the total weight is 148 out of 247, and I have 100 defense. Now we're not going to be worrying about parrying at all in here. We're just going to be running through the board as fast as possible. So once you add that buff and the lightning damage, and obviously you're doing your power attack. Now one thing that I didn't stress that is super important is to make sure that you have Revenant's Hunger. Absolutely always have this equipped. So this is going to increase the amount of haze gained from defeating enemies, because that is the purpose of this video, is to show you the fastest way to gain haze after you've beaten the game. Now as far as another passive, you could go ahead and equip one that drops more items more often, but I'm not going to get into that for today's video. We're just sticking mainly to farming haze. So from here, the partner that you're going to want to have obviously is Yakumo. Yakumo is going to be another power hitter as you're running through this board. Again, the main purpose of it is to increase the raw attack power as much as possible. Make sure you have Yakumo, because he's going to do an insane amount of damage as well, and then that way you guys can just run through the level extremely fast. From here, you're going to want to go to Teleport, and then you're just going to go to the Provisional Government Center. Now this is the main map that you're going to be running through, so obviously make sure that you have all of the missiles unlocked and you've been everywhere on the map. But if you haven't yet, you will get very familiar with this run, because you're going to be doing it back and forth, and I'll explain the numbers in a little bit. Alright, now that we're here, let me get into the numbers in a little bit with the math. Now as far as the run goes, and again, this is just me running through it as fast as I could. I'm not worried about picking up items. I'm not worried about getting every single mob. This is just me running through it extremely quick. I was able to run through a certain part of the map almost to the end in around 6 minutes, which gave me around 700,000 haze for that 6 minutes. So if you do the math, it's pretty easy. You're going to be doing about 7 million haze per hour. Now obviously I don't expect you guys to be running through this 4 hours. Maybe some of you are extremely dedicated to the grind and will be doing that, but you will be able to net a cool 7 million haze within an hour, which is pretty incredible. I've seen some videos where they're doing 4, 5, 6 million every hour, so this being 7 million, it's just a little bit more, and it's definitely one of the easiest ways to do so. Now if you're running through this, there are obviously different paths that you could take, but if you open up your map, I'm going to show you exactly the route that you're going to be running, so just pay attention to the screen. Now if you look at the map on the right, this is the path that you're going to want to take. Now you're going to want to aim for the missile at the connecting bridge, so once you run from here to the connecting bridge, you'll go ahead and you'll touch that missile, and then it'll reset everything and you can just run back the other way. Obviously you could go ahead and just teleport back, but running back the other way just changes things a little bit if you're going to be doing this for hours upon hours, right? So I definitely recommend doing that, but that is the goal. It's going to be from here all the way to the missile at the connecting bridge. Obviously you'll see it in the gameplay here shortly, but this is the path that you want to take, and there are a couple of notes and a couple of tips that I do have when you're running through this path. Now first, obviously when you start, you're going to want to make sure that you apply your buffs if you can. So you're going to do attack up and then do thunder up, and then obviously you can go ahead and do that ichor regeneration if you have it, and then you should be good to go. Now if you see here, I am able to one-shot most of the mobs except for like the harder ones, so I'm going to be doing a sprinting attack. With that sprinting attack on PlayStation, it's going to be R1 and square, so I'm going to be doing this attack for most of my run. Now another thing that I recommend is that you save your tormenting blast for one of two things. One, if you're dealing with a mob that has 3 or more, and 2, if you're dealing with one of the like little, I call them big Berthas, right? They're the big huge mobs that take a lot of damage, they have high health, they do a ton of damage to you. You're going to want to save it for them, because typically, depending on, you know, if you follow this setup specifically, you will be able to just use tormenting blast and they should be dead. If not, take one more swing and they're dead. So again, it makes it very easy, and you'll see here in the gameplay of me doing that. Now if you just beat the game and your level is lower, you may be a little bit timid, but again, if you run this build with the raw attack power with the way I have it set up, you should be fairly good. You should be fairly okay, and you'll get used to the map, so you'll be running this and it'll be quite comfortable. And with that, I hope this video is extremely helpful to you guys as far as farming haze. Again, this is just a suggestion. This is my go-to method so far. You could farm the depths, you could farm a boss, but when I did the math, this just came out a lot better. Alright guys, and with that being said, I hope this video was extremely helpful to you guys. If you have a better way to farm haze, go ahead and drop it in the comments below. Now if you found this video helpful, if you found it enjoyable, or if you just want to keep up with the channel and the daily videos, go ahead and make sure that you hit that subscribe button and that notifications bell. Again, let's go for 5 likes on the video. I would very much appreciate that, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.